This is Arnie Duncan, the Secretary of Education for 7 years during the Obama administration. And this is Oklahoma State Schools Superintendent Ryan Walters, who supports President-elect Donald Trump's plan to abolish the Department of Education.
I'm going to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states. And we're going to do it fast.
President-elect Trump will not eliminate the Department of Education. And this will be just another unfulfilled campaign promise, like getting Mexico to build a wall.
Look, President Trump has laid out the most aggressive, boldest, most conservative reform agenda for education in this nation's history.
This weaponization of the Federal Department of Education will just be disastrous.
Closing the Department of Education has been proposed by the Trump administration, but is this a good thing to do? I think it'd be wise for us to look at the mission behind the Department of Education when it was founded, right? Number two, how much money have we invested in education from a federal and state standpoint? And number three, what's been the rate of return, the ROI, to gauge if this has been successful? I think by actually analyzing these three components, we can truly answer the question, is it wise for us to close the Department of Education? And this is going to be fun and enlightening. Let's get this thing. You see that thing, baby? Let's go.
We on now. They respect us cause we on now. Money up, run the whole time, don't we? This power money can't slow down. Why they party? I'm in here grinding. Money I'm stacking. Why they rock diamonds? I can't relate to them, ain't much in common. I set a goal for me 2 or 3 commas. 7 figures, 8 figures to 9 figures. On a slow pace to get rich quick. Same time we just think different. Cause when you make it, it hit different.
What it do, y'all? It's your partner Dale back in the saddle again for another edition of the Counter Move podcast every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Guys, thank you so much for blessing with your time. If you could do me a favor, share, like, and subscribe, guys. And no matter what platform that you're on, do me a favor, click on a little bell there, so whenever I go live, you'll get the alert that I'm live. You can kick with your partner, man. But again, thank you so much for blessing with your time. Today, guys, is going to be a very good topic, guys. And I'm taking a little bit of a turn here at the last minute because I think it'd be wise for us to educate ourselves and reason together on this topic, guys, man. Yo, it has been a very, very, very interesting first week of this new administration, guys. And what has been on the topic of a lot of people's mind in a certain sector, really education, has been this asking this question here, guys. Is it time to shut down the Department of Education? Man, this here, I was sitting back kind of listening to the news, and this came up on really CNBC and Wall Street Journal, and they actually had some really good videos on this. We're going to listen to those videos as well and reason together, guys. We're going to go over some topics today, guys, so we can begin to ask this question. First question, again, is should we shut down the Department of Education? Number two, what is the Department of Education's mission? What's their core mission? We got to revisit that mission for when they were actually what originated, guys. We're going to figure out what year they actually originated in as well also. Number three, the Department of Education funding versus the state's funding, right? Who's funding more, right? And where are these dollars going to when it comes to the Department of Education? And then number four, education theory versus education results, guys. The one thing that I hear a lot of the time is theory, but I love results so we can kind of gauge and see which topic is which perspective is the most wise perspective. Okay, we're not looking to be right, we're looking to be wise, guys. So let's dive into this first thing real quickly, guys. I said again, is it time to shut down the Department of Education, guys? Yo, man, let's dive in this topic real quickly, guys, here. And if you could, guys, chime in. Let me know what you actually think about the topic here, guys. And we can kind of go in. This is going to be a very interesting topic. And again, we're not looking to be right. We're looking to be wise here, guys. So let's dive into this here, guys. This is the Wall Street Journal's video concerning this topic. Is it time for the shut down Department of Education? Here we go. Let's listen to this real quick. Here we go.
This is Arnie Duncan, the Secretary of Education for 7 years during the Obama administration. And this is Oklahoma State Schools Superintendent Ryan Walters, who supports President-elect Donald Trump's plan to abolish the Department of Education.
So from the get-go, you have two different ideologies being presented. Good, balanced initial view. Let's go.
I'm going to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states. And we're going to do it fast.
President-elect Trump will not eliminate the Department of Education. And this will be just another unfulfilled campaign promise, like getting Mexico to build a wall.
Look, President Trump has laid out the most aggressive, boldest, most conservative reform agenda for education in this nation's history.
This weaponization of the federal Department of Education will just be disastrous.
So why do Trump and some Republicans want to dismantle the Department of Education? And what would that look like?
I think all those federal employees are going to be fired from their jobs. We're going to do away with the agency. That building needs to go away. It needs to be something else.
The U.S. Department of Education, the smallest of the cabinet-level agencies, has more than 4,400 employees and a budget of $79 billion.
Education is mostly a state and local issue, but what the Department of Education does is pretty important.
The department handles Title I funding for high-poverty K-12 schools and IDEA funding for students with disabilities. At the higher ed level, it distributes federal student aid, including loans and Pell Grants. The Office for Civil Rights enforces laws like Title IX, protecting against gender-based discrimination.
It's fighting for equity, a focus on excellence, and really driving and scaling innovation. Those are three roles I think are critically important.
Duncan is now the leader of Chicago Cred, a nonprofit working to reduce gun violence.
Let's take IDEA very specifically, children with special needs. As you know, historically, those children were actually denied access to going to public schools. And it took the federal government to come in and provide access to children with special needs. There are over 7.5 million children with special needs that receive billions of dollars of additional funding from the U.S. Department of Education. And guess what? You want accountability for those resources.
Superintendent Walters says school accountability should shift from the federal government to parents.
There's nobody who loves their child more or who cares more about their child than their mom and dad. So the more that we empower them through school choice, through transparency and accountability measures, what you're going to see is all schools are going to get better.
Trump faces an uphill battle to abolish the Department of Education. It would take an act of Congress to dismantle the department or to get rid of any of the programs written into federal law.
I sometimes think of this as two different scenarios. A soft abolish would be getting rid of the department, but keeping its various programs. And then just sort of redistributing the programs to other federal agencies. A hard abolish would be getting rid of the department and many or all of its programs. That might be a much tougher sled through Congress and might be a lot more controversial.
This is not a political winner. And they have to be very, very careful. You can lie to parents about a lot of things and maybe get away with it, but if you start hurting their children and you start hurting the children who are already vulnerable, there's going to be hell to pay politically.
The Conservative Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, which Trump has repeatedly distanced himself from, has proposed phasing out Title I funding for low-income students over 10 years and converting other programs to no-strings-attached formula block grants.
President Trump's plan that money could go directly to families to direct those funds. So what you'll see are states have more power to innovate, states have more power to solve their solutions locally, and then frankly, something we already do here in Oklahoma, states have more power to then give power to families, to parents.
Like President-elect Trump, Walters favors school choice programs, generally meaning funding or scholarships for non-traditional public or private schools.
Critics of school choice basically say it will hurt public schools and drain money from public education. In the most recent election, there were 3 states that had some measure of school choice on the ballot. And in all 3 states, including in very red Kentucky and Nebraska, voters voted against expanding school choice.
Aside from dismantling the
Okay, so that is a little bit of the Wall Street Journal presentation, and so what you see is you see both a liberal-leaning perspective, right, with the former Department Secretary of Education under Barack Obama, right, and then the current superintendent of the state of Oklahoma schools, right. So you have a conservative there, and you're seeing 2 different perspectives on how to realistically solve this education. You have on the liberal side, it's more of this. So the DOE is important because it for Title IX, and then the IDEA for special needs, and then also Pell Grants, which is really more for student loans, so to speak, when it comes you go to college, and then civil rights as well also. So I'm just like, okay, so you see that on the liberal side, but then you hear on the conservative side, they're saying, hey, those powers need to go back to the states because the states are the closest to the student, and idealistically, it needs to go back to the parents because the parents is the first line of defense. That's what they're saying, right? And they're saying there's no one that knows best for the child than the parents, than the child's parents themselves, right? So you have those 2 perspectives being presented there. Very interesting perspective. Now, guys, let's dive into this here, guys. Now, here's the one thing that I want to look at initially first, right? I want to say, okay, this Department of Education, right? When was it founded, and what is its mission? So it's been kind of hard for me to find, guys, information, proper information. So you know what I did? What I did was I actually went to Chat GPT, right? And I asked it a myriad of questions. And I said, okay, let's go there and see how we can actually get this done. Because it was very hard for me to find information on this guy. It was crazy for me to actually find it. So here, I'm going to literally actually put it up here, and you're going to actually see exactly what it is. I'm going to make it bigger for everybody so you can see the exact questions that I actually asked Chat GPT. Let me get rid of this real quickly here. All right, boom, there we go. Let's go. Now, here we go. Make it a little bigger for everybody, and we can walk through this real quickly. I want you to see what I'm asking, right? It says, I said, okay, the question was, what year was the Department of Education opened, and what is its mission? That was the question that I asked ChatGPT because I had trouble finding the information online. It was crazy. I said, okay. It says the U.S. Department of Education was established on October 17, 1979, after being signed into law by President Jimmy Carter. So President Jimmy Carter founded the Department of Education. It officially began operating on May 4th, 1980, when Congress passed a law making it an agency, right? So Wall Street Journal was correct. Yes, President Carter did an executive order, but it became a viable and a real agency when Congress passed a law with it, all right? Now, let's keep going. It says, okay, what is the initial mission of the Department of Education? It says, okay, the department's mission is to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access. So it's very simple to see what it says. It says the mission is to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness. So it's going to be so they're trying to compete on the global stage, right? By fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access. Okay, cool. That's a great mission. Now it says key responsibilities. It says number 1, establishing policies, administering federal financial aid for education, right? Number 2, collecting and analyzing data. Okay, all right. It says assessing educational progress nationwide, right? Number 3, it says enforcing federal education laws, ensuring equal access and civil rights in education. Gotcha. Number 4, it says supporting research, funding studies to improve education quality and effectiveness. These are pretty good responsibilities. And then number 5, it says overseeing education programs, managing programs like Title I for disadvantaged students and Pell Grants for college students. All right. And also special needs, the IDEA. That's what I talked about on the Wall Street Journal presentation there, right? So this comes directly from the Department of Education website, directly from there. So we know exactly what the mission is. It is global competition, right? Global competition, right? Student achievement by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access, right? And this was founded in 1980. So I said, okay, what was the whenever the Department of Education opened up in 1980? I said, what was the status of America, right? And I actually asked ChatGPT this question. I'm going all the way down to the bottom, okay? And this is what it told me, okay? It says, determine, and I looked this up online and couldn't find anything. That's why I'm using ChatGPT, guys, just to be transparent with you. I want you to literally see my notes, right? It says, determining a precise global, because the question is, when the Department of Education was founded in 79 and 80, right? What was the U.S. ranked, right, in the world at the time? I said, okay, determining a precise global ranking, right, for the United States education system in 1979 and 1980 is challenging because initially standardized assessments such as PISA, which began in 2000, and TIMSS, which started in 1995, were not in place at that time. Okay, all right. It says, as a result, there was no systematic and internationally comparable ranking of K-12 education available in the year of the Department of Education was founding. So I'm like, okay. So based on what ChatGPT is saying, and don't know if this is actually correct at all, it's saying that there was no measurement. So I'm trying to figure out, why was it founded for? Now let's keep going, because again, it's global competitiveness. If there was no measurement in place at the time to even gauge this, what was the reason for founding the DOE in the first place? All right. But no worries. He said, now watch this. Historically, the U.S. was widely recognized as a leader in higher education, while its K-12 system was viewed as diverse. Okay, it was diverse. Okay, cool. With many high-performing schools alongside significant regional and socioeconomic disparities. However, without modern assessment tools to measure and compare outcomes across countries, we simply do not have a definitive global ranking for overall education skills from that period. Okay, but makes sense. But at the exact same time, ChatGPT is saying the U.S. was recognized as a leader in higher education on the global stage. So I am assuming that the Department of Education was founded to further that goal, because if from a perception on the world stage, the U.S. was deemed as the leader in higher education. So based on what it said in its mission, it wanted to increase that, right? So if that is the case, right, things should be getting better, right, on the global stage, because not based on what I said in the mission statement, that was one of the standards that the DOE wanted. They wanted to be higher education to compete on a higher stage and ensure equal access to education. Got it. Education. Got it. Makes total sense. Hand clap of praise. All right. No problem with it at all. Now, guys, let's go a little bit deeper. Okay? All right. And let's go a little bit deeper. So now that we actually have found what it is, let's go a little deeper. Let's go over to CNBC. CNBC, guys, what they did was they had a presentation as well. And I think it was really good as well also. And it goes a little bit deeper on the functionality of the Department of Education. And it gives good opposing views, right, from experts in this arena, right? So let's see what this has to say, guys. And then we'll dive into a topic that I am very interested to look into. And this is going to be the money itself, guys. All right, let's go get it in real fast. Let's see what's going down from this here, guys. And here we go. Let's get it in.
The Department of Education handled about $229 billion of the $9.7 trillion that Congress allocated for federal agencies in 2024. That comes to about 2.4%. Despite the department's small size, it's taken on an outsized role in political rhetoric.
We will ultimately eliminate the federal Department of Education and send education back to Wisconsin and back to the states.
We're seeing sort of broader attacks on public education, and an extension of that is that we see attacks on the most visible symbol of public education, which is the U.S. Department of Education.
Where someone lands on this issue may come down to whether they believe regulation from the federal government is onerous on state governments, or if federal regulation serves as oversight that provides protection to children.
The Department of Education has often been described as a gargantuan bank with a third-rate policy shop attached. Because the biggest chunk of the money they manage there is over $1 trillion in federal student loans. I don't know that folks who work for the Washington, D.C. Department of Education are necessarily the folks best equipped to oversee and manage a portfolio of that size.
What I'm concerned about is how these billionaires who want tax cuts are going to take funding away from kids with special needs and kids who are poor and kids who are going to college for the first time. So when you take a sledgehammer to these kind of programs that the federal government pays for, but most of them are actually implemented in states and localities all throughout America, that's a problem.
These are programs that are put in place by laws. Congress's job is to create laws. The executive branch job is to enforce the laws. It takes a lot of political capital to get them done. And the question, I think, is do Republicans actually want to spend the political capital on the education department? And as a congressional reporter, the answer to me seems like a very obvious no.
This entire debate about whether to abolish the department or not is symbolic. The real question is, what is it that we want the federal government to do?
Here's what the Department of Education does and what the future of education could look like in the U.S.
So from the get-go, you see two different views being presented, right? Two different views. We're going to see how these views unpack together, guys. And we're going to dive into the numbers in this too, guys. So don't go nowhere. Here we go. Let's get into it.
The Federal Department of Education has existed in some form since 1867, initially created to gather information to help states develop effective school systems. The modern department was established as a cabinet-level agency in 1979 after Jimmy Carter ran on separating the agency from what is now the Department of Health and Human Services. Some Republicans have been calling for the department to be closed since it was first established. The calls don't seem to be slowing down. In 2024, 64% of Republicans and Republican-leaning Americans have a negative view of the Department of Education.
I'm going to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states.
The fight over the future of the Department of Education is symbolic of an ideological divide regarding how involved the federal government should be in regulating education.
The tone of the talking point has changed. Sometimes it's been about just sort of pulling the federal government out of education entirely. Sometimes it has felt like it's a bit more antagonistic toward public schools in general. And I think now we're in an era where it feels like it's more antagonistic and not just about reducing costs.
The Department of Education is offensive to anybody who's kind of a small government conservative because it creates a permanent infrastructure in Washington that's always trying to weigh in on what states and communities and colleges should be doing for their part.
The U.S. Department of Education has become a symbol of public education and public schools across the country. And what we've seen in polling ever since the COVID shutdowns is Americans, and particularly Republicans, have lost a lot of trust in U.S. public schools. And there's now a big division in how Democrats feel about public schools versus how Republicans feel about public schools. And I think the department has become a symbol of that.
In reality, states and localities already have immense power when it comes to educating the students in their state and in their district. They already get to sort of set the rules on what they're teaching curriculum-wise.
I don't think we need the Department of Education.
Wow.
I'd be fine if it didn't exist.
Wow.
But I can also count to 60. And to dismantle a federal department, you need an act of Congress.
Yes, you do.
One of the Republican Party's platforms in 2024 is to rein in wasteful federal spending. But abolishing a federal agency doesn't automatically turn off the spending tap.
All the money the Department of Education has really is the money that's authorized by Congress. All of these programs will continue to exist and get money unless Congress voted to stop funding them. The debate about the future of the department is symbolic. What really matters is what we decide to do about the staffing and funding of these assorted programs.
When asked for comment, a Trump-Vance transition spokesperson wrote in part in a statement to CNBC, President Trump believes that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time.
Wow.
By returning education back to the states where it belongs, President Trump will improve academic excellence for all students. The Department of Education did not...
So it seems to be on the conservative side, they wanted the education kicked back to the states because of the fact that they believe that the state should have the final word when it comes to education at all levels, right? Because they're closest to the student, and that authority should go back to the parents. The parents are the first line of defense. That is the conservative view. That's why they're talking about abolishing or shutting down the Department of Education. Now, when it comes to the liberal side, right, they are believing that the Department of Education is essential to improving, right, the education for students in all 50 states, right? When it comes to Title IX, when it comes to the IDEA, when it comes to there was another program, but when it comes to education as a whole itself, they're saying that, hey, our role is important because we're kind of a check on the states, right? Now, again, we read that from the inception of the Department of Education, based on what ChatGPT said, it stated that the world viewed the U.S. as a leader in education. So, and the mission of the Department of Education was to expand on that leading in education from a global stage. Now here, in a second, we're going to look at the numbers to see if that is accurate today. If that is, if they're meeting that missional goal today. Let's keep it going. Here we go.
Not respond to CNBC's request for comment. One of the department's biggest responsibilities is dispersing federal student loans and managing loan forgiveness programs.
The U.S. Department of Education, in a lot of ways, it operates like a bank. If you're looking at a full portfolio of loans and all the money that flows through the department, it is quite large. If you're looking in terms of what is the size of the department staff, it's about 4,400 employees. It's small relative to other agencies in the federal government. So
I got to ask a question. If it operates like a bank, banks are typically focused on a number goal, not a missional goal, as far as when it comes to an educational goal. Banks are focused on a number, a rate of return. That's why they lend out money at an interest rate, and they want to get that principal back plus the interest, right? That's how a bank normally operates. So if the Department of Education is operated like a bank, that's contrary to the missional goal, right? Let's keep it going.
Has kind of a small
I don't know if you agree.
Staffing footprint.
More than $114 billion of the $229 billion that passes through the department goes toward the federal direct student loan program. According
hold on. So wait a minute. It says $114 billion of the $229 billion goes toward the federal direct student loan program. That's for college. Wait a minute. What about K to 12? So is the lion's share of this money going toward federal student loans versus K to 12 education from the Department of Education coffers, right? From their banks. right, from their pockets, right? Let's keep it going.
To usaspending.gov. The department is also responsible for issuing Pell Grants, which are usually granted to undergraduate students on a needs basis and typically do not have to be repaid. It also manages Title I funds, a federal aid program for K-12 schools serving low-income students. In the fiscal year 2024, Congress allocated $18.4 billion to the program.
It is a program that provides funds particularly to students.
Hold on, wait a minute. $114 billion versus how much was that again? $18.4 billion. If you look at the comparison, the majority of the money is going to federal student loans. I mean, $18.4 billion. If you divide that, guys, right? If you divide that $18.4 billion, let me get to it. $18.4 billion. $18.4 billion. All right. And you divide it by 50, guys. That's just $368 million a state. That's nothing compared to $114 billion going to federal student loans. The majority of the money is going to student loans for colleges, not for K through 12. Let's keep it going.
Who live in concentrated poverty. And part of the reason for that is that if we were to have education systems that relied purely on local and state funding, you would see these kind of vast inequalities in how much funding is available to schools. And so the federal government plays this role of kind of offsetting that.
Hold on, wait. What he just said doesn't make any sense from a fiscal standpoint. Out of the $229 billion that was allocated by Congress, $114 billion is going to federal student loans. On the college level, only $18.4 billion is going to Title IX. Divided by 50, that's $368 million a piece to each and every state, right? So wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense what you just said. You're saying if this is taken away, that's going to cause disparities. That doesn't make any fiscal sense. Is this a theory? Or is this an actual fact? Let's keep it going, guys.
Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, is a federal law that ensures services to children with disabilities and provides funding to states for additional services. Okay. Congress funded IDEA to the tune of $15.4 billion in 2024. But the department's job goes beyond managing money.
The Department of Education, not the Department of Justice, is the one who deal with ensuring that kids have equal access to schools.
The Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights, or OCR, is responsible for ensuring that students are not subjected to discrimination. It fields complaints, oversees compliance reviews, and works with schools to develop and implement corrective actions to bring them into compliance. The OCR was given $140 million in 2024 by Congress. Okay. But ultimately, it's the White House that gets to decide what the OCR prioritizes.
When somebody says, we're going to strip it all away, and just give it to the states.
So OCR, okay, civil rights. They're in place for, I guess, civil rights, the discriminations. I got a question. What discriminations have actually happened during this time frame? And if the White House, the president, can determine what you go after as far as civil rights, that can change based on a different administration. So is it really civil rights? I got to ask these questions because we're spending money in this arena, right? So I got to ask those questions, right? Because if you look at the Biden administration, a lot of their educational from the OCR was more of Title IX, really for the LGBTQ, right? Maybe DEI, but the DEI really didn't help any that many Black people there, and that was really on a corporate level, not on an educational level, right? Now some ISDs or some schools created a DEI consultant, but that didn't do. How does that progress education? right? Now watch this. Now you have the Trump administration actually in office now. Now it changes to something else. So every 4 years, hypothetically, depending on if the president wins 2 terms, it changes every 4 years, potentially. How does that move forward educational excellence if it changes every 4 years? Am I tripping? Wow. Let's go.
Then how do you protect poor kids? The implementers, the ones who actually get that check to somebody, they become more important than the pontificators, because that's what makes it real.
Title IX.
So here's my question. Who's after the kids? Like, who's after the kids? Because this OCR is actually there for civil rights and protection. And you're saying for someone it will be after these kids. Okay, who's after the kids? What are they doing? And from what Biden did initially, because I'm using Biden because he's the most recent president, and it was different what President Trump was doing. Where was the cases? There's a civil rights division in the Department of Justice. If there's any civil rights issues, they can go after it. So where are the cases? Where is it at? There's allocated money for it. So where's it at? Let's keep it going, y'all. Let's keep it going.
Is a high-profile federal law that the Department of Education is responsible for enforcing. It prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in any education program or activity that receives federal financial assistance.
When it comes to something like the regulations that relate to Title IX, the Trump administration can do a lot unilaterally in that space, and I think they very likely will. The Biden administration has tried to expand our understanding of sex-based discrimination to also include discrimination based on sexual orientation.
So Biden was focused more on the LGBTQ, not on racial discrimination. Do you see what I'm actually saying? That's what I'm seeing here. Is where was the racial discrimination? It just said Biden was focused on the LGBTQ for Title IX, not women. So do you see how did this progress? The excellence on the global stage. We're going to look at the numbers in a second. Don't you worry. I got you, baby. Don't you worry. I got you.
And gender identity. And I think it's basically a foregone conclusion that the Trump administration will revert back to the prior understanding there.
That's what I mean. Every 4 years, you're changing. You're changing education every 4 years. How does that progress the students forward? Every 4 years, you're changing it. I mean, you're changing complete directions, not building upon something else. You're going one direction here. For instance, Biden was going toward the LGBTQ stuff. Now Trump said, nope, that's gone. So totally different directions now. How does that progress education forward? I got to ask the question. If you could let me know in the comment section, guys, what do you think? Am I off base? Hold me accountable, please.
While eliminating the Department of Education has been a talking point for President-elect Trump, it would take an act of Congress to make it happen.
When you hear House Majority Leader Steve Scalise talk about the first 100 days under the Trump administration, you hear a lot of things about border security, about immigration, about energy. You don't hear a lot about eliminating the Education Department.
In Trump's first term, there was not a lot of appetite among Republicans for cutting spending for IDEA or for Title I or for Pell Grants. So if you're a low-income student or you're a family of a child with special needs, I think the idea that there's going to be substantial cuts to those programs is pretty unlikely.
I know a soundbite when I see it. The real issue is how are you going to help kids? And if you make this a mess, you're not helping kids. They are trying to shift what was created in America by the New Deal. They want winners and losers.
Abolishing the Department of Education appears to be only one aspect of the broader reforms outlined in Project 2025, a collection of policy plans developed by conservative think tank the Heritage Foundation in collaboration with more than 100 other right-leaning organizations.
It is important to acknowledge that Project 2025, it's not clear how the Trump administration will feel about that document. And there are some indications that Trump just isn't all that interested in education in the first place. So with that caveat, that we really genuinely don't know how seriously they're going to take this.
Trump distanced himself from the document while he was campaigning, but has been taking suggestions for potential hires from the personnel database created by Project 2025 during his transition into the White House.
Project 2025 basically frames a discussion of big changes in federal education policy around the idea that American schools are underperforming. There's a kind of culture war piece to this that has a lot to do with gender and sexuality and race. And then there are some potentially big structural changes when it comes to the federal role in education.
Experts say another one of the structural changes that Project 2025 suggests could be reducing the number of requirements attached to the funding provided to disabled students through.
It seems to be that CNBC is building this off of Project 2025. Now, they did say that President Trump on the campaign trail distanced himself in 2020, and he did it several different times, guys. So if you have not got a confirmation that he's using Project 2025 as a foundation, why are you building your whole case on Project 2025? That seems like a flawed foundation, right? Like, it was clear President Biden was using the Department of Education Title IX section for the LGBTQ agenda. It was clear. He came out and said it. So did the Secretary of Education. Came out and said it. It was clear. And Trump's come out and said, he says, I want to shut down the Department of Education. And why he was actually in an Oval Office, that he actually had an interview. And if you want, y'all can play it. There's no big deal at all. But at the exact same time, that's what I'm seeing. Is CNBC is building this off of a faulty foundation to present a case. Why would you do that? That right there lets me know that, are you pushing an agenda? Or are you really trying to add value to the discussion so we can answer the question, is it wise for us, for the U.S., to shut down the Department of Education? That we don't want to be right. We want to be wise, right? Let's keep it going.
IDEA.
This is what wonks tend to call block granting, giving the money to states or school districts with more freedom to spend it. And you could do that with a lot fewer bureaucrats, but somebody would do it. And if there weren't a Department of Education, presumably they would be attached to some other federal entity, whether that was Department of Labor or Department of Health and Human Services.
The problem with that, in my view, is that those strings that are attached actually really matter, because it's the strings that are attached that help to ensure that the funds are getting to the students with disabilities and getting them the services they need and ensuring that they have the opportunities that they should have.
Project 2025.
So again, they go to Project 2025 again. Come on, man. We got to be honest, but stop building stuff off a faulty foundation, CNBC. Come on. Do better. Come on, guys. So there are strings attached to this federal money. What are those strings? I want to know what those strings are. Because if a state receives these funds, there's some federal strings attached to it. Now, guys, let's dive into this real quickly, guys, all right? I want to go a little bit deeper, guys, all right? Let's go a little deeper, all right, guys? So now, let's talk about, before we go to education theory, all right, we'll go a little bit deeper there. Let's go into educational funding, right? Department of Education funding versus the state's funding, right? So again, what I did was I looked it up online, guys, and I couldn't find nothing. They gave a clear view, right? So what I did was, and you're going to see this in a second, I actually asked ChatGPT this question. So you're going to see it here in a second. Here we go. Now, here we go. Here was the question. Come on now. Come on. There we go. Now, here was the question, guys. It says, act as a certified accountant and public educational administrative. professional. Break down for me, and in spreadsheet format, detailing for all 50 states, for me, the percentage that each state has invested in public education versus the federal Department of Education has invested in public education. So it's going to be you're going to actually see the numbers, and you're going to see this in a second. Let me scroll down a little bit, okay? Here we go. This is for, it says, let me read this. It says, funding for public education in the United States is a collaborative effort among federal, state, and local governments. That is correct. Then it says, on average, the federal government contributes approximately 11% of public elementary and secondary school revenues, with the remaining funds coming from state and local resources. This comes from the nces.ed.gov, right? So let's look at it down. Let's say, okay, here we go. This is the federal funding percentage per state. Per state. Here we go. Alabama, DOE gets 14.8%. Alaska, 15.5%. Arizona, 13.6%. Arkansas, 12.5%. California, 9.2%. Colorado, 8.8%. Kentucky, 4.3%. Delaware, 10.1%. DC, 7.8%. Florida, 10.6%. Georgia, 10.8%. Hawaii, 12.0%. Idaho, 13.0%. Illinois, 8.9%. Indiana, 9.3%. Iowa, 7.9%. Kansas, 6.9%. Kentucky, 14.3%. Louisiana, 15.3%. Maine, 8.4%. Maryland, 7.0%. Massachusetts, 6.4%. Michigan, 10.1%. Minnesota, 6.8%. Mississippi, 16.7%. Missouri, 10.5%. Montana, 12.8%. Nebraska, 8.2%. Nevada, 8.5%. New Hampshire, 6.0%. New Jersey, 4.1%. New Mexico, 14.2%. New York, 5.1%. North Carolina, 12.3%. North Dakota, 15.9%. Ohio, 8.3%. Oklahoma, 11.8%. Oregon, 9.6%. Pennsylvania, 7.2%. Rhode Island, 8.1%. South Carolina, 11.9%. South Dakota, 11.3%. Tennessee, 11.4%. Texas, I'm a Texas boy, 10%. Utah, 6.5%. Vermont, 6.9%. Virginia, 8.2%. Washington, 8.4%. West Virginia, 13.8%. Wisconsin, 8.4%. And Wyoming, 10.2%. This is the federal funding percentage per state. So therefore, and we learned this on the videos, the states give an astronomical they give a lot more funding, right, than the Department of Education. That's a fact, right? So I'm confused. I'm gonna use Texas. I'm in Texas. I'm gonna use Texas, right? I'm in Texas. Here's Texas right here. Texas. So I'm confused. Texas is 10%. So 90% comes from the state, county, and local governments. 10% comes from the federal government. That's a big ratio, right? So remember, the mission for the Department of Education was what? It was, let's see if we can revisit it again. Let's see if we can visit it again. All right, hold on. Here it is. Here is the mission. Let me go back to mission. Hold on, guys. Control F, MISSON. There we go. There we go. Here is the mission, guys. All right. The mission says to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access, right? So the goal is student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness, right? Let's see, right? Let's see, guys, where the U.S. ranks, right, on the global stage. Because remember, that was its original missional intent from the get-go. Let's see. And at the time, the U.S. was known as the leader in education on the global stage, right? On the global stage, right? Here we go. Now let's see. Let's go down real fast. Let's see, right? Let us see. Let me go down to real fast. Okay, give me a sec here, guys. I want you. Let's see. Okay. This is good. Okay, here we go. Here is the question. It says, detail for me the world rankings for math skills per country. That's the question that I asked ChatGPT, right? Detail for me the rankings, right? The rankings. So now let's go over here to theory, educational theory versus education results. Let's go here. I like results, right? Damn your theory. I like results. Let's get it in real fast. All right? Let's get it in. Here we go. That's the question. It says, the PISA, which is the Program for International Student Assessment, 2022, evaluated 15-year-olds' proficiency in mathematics skills across various countries. The assessment revealed significant variations in performance, with East Asian regions leading the rankings. Not the United States. East Asian regions leading. Right? Let's see which ones, y'all. In math, number one is Singapore. That's not the United States. Number two, I think it's Macau, China. Number two. Number three, Taiwan, Chinese Taipei. 4, Japan. 5, Korea. 6, Hong Kong, China. 7, Estonia. 8, Canada. Canada. 9, Ireland. 10, Switzerland. Switzerland, guys. We are way down here. This says that, so where is the U.S. ranked at, guys? We're ranked to what? That's 10, 11, 12, 13. We're 14th. 14th in the world in math skills. 14th. I thought the Department of Education's goal was to compete on a global level, right? And before its inception, we were known as the world leader in education. That's not what I said. That's what the world was saying. And now what I'm seeing right now is we are 14th on the scale in math. In math. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is sad. This is sad. It says United States right here. United States with a score of 4089.3 performs below the top tier, but remains above the OECD average of 472. We just made it. We just made it. All this money is flowing from the DOE. All this money is flowing. So, okay, now you may say, all right, Dale, that's just math. Okay, that's just math. That's just math. All right, that's just math. All right, I'm rocking with you. Okay, rock with you. That's the mission. Let's go over to, reading skills. Reading. Let's go to reading skills. Here we go. Control F. Reading. Read. There we go. Here we go. Where does the U.S. rank on the world stage in reading skills? So math, 14th. Reading. Oh, okay. Let's get it. Okay. The United States performance in reading literacy as assessed by the Program for International Student Assessment, the same one, 2022, right, indicates that U.S. 15-year-olds score an average of 497 points. This places the U.S. above the Organization of Economic Cooperative and Development average of 476. Okay, good. In the global context, the U.S. ranks 13th. 1-3. Mm-hmm. 1-3. So we began as the world leader at the inception of the DOE. Now in math, we rank 14th. In the reading, we're ranked 13th. Yes, sir. We killing it. Killing the game. Killing the game, guys. This is so bad, y'all. This is so bad. Now, let's read this here, guys. Let's read this here. Where does the United States rank on the world stage in overall education skills? Overall. Again, after the Department of Education has been founded. Okay? Remember, the goal was to compete on the global stage. Right now, we're sucking. Not doing too well. The PISA, okay, 15-year-olds, same metrics, recent founded in 2022, the U.S. students ranked 12th out of 37 OECD countries in science, with Japan students leading and Mexican students at the lower end. Number 2, it says, okay, in the TIMSS, Trends in International Mathematics and Science Studies. All right, the TIMSS assesses 4th and 8th graders proficiency in mathematics and science every 4 years. Reaching 2019 and 2023, the U.S. experienced a notable decline in math performance, attributed largely to disruptions from the COVID-19. So now it's COVID's fault. Now it's COVID's fault. COVID's fault. That's the problem. COVID's fault. For real. Education rankings by country. Overview. Various organizations compile the rankings based on factors like academic achievement, graduation rates, and educational attainment. Recent findings. As of recent assessments, the U.S. education system is ranked 13th globally, trailing such countries as Germany and New Zealand. Now I see the reason why we have trade deficits, because we went from the leader to number 13. It's ridiculous. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. This is ridiculous. Okay. It says tertiary educational attainment. Overall, the metrics reflects the percentage of adults who have completed post-secondary education. Oh, okay. Post-secondary. I'm talking about post-secondary. I think it means after college. It says recent findings, approximately 50% of U.S. adults aged 25 to 64 have attained to tertiary education, placing the U.S. behind countries like Canada and Japan, which means we're not the world leader that we once was before the Department of Education was founded. So if the mission is to compete on a global stage, right? On a global stage, to ensure we have access to proper education, right? For every student. We're sucking. Bad. The numbers that we looked at, out of $229 billion allocated for the Department of Education, right? $114 billion is going to what? Pell Grants for college students. This is sad, yo. And all I kept hearing on the liberal side, guys, is this here. We got to protect people, protect the kids from people that's going to be after them, taking their education. It was more like fear tactics. It was a lot of theory. But the results are telling me that your theory sucks. It sucks. It's not working. Not based on what I'm saying. The data says it. And one of the components for the Department of Education is to examine data. What have you been examining? The wall or your pocketbooks? Because there's a lot of money flowing that way. A lot of money flowing that way. We got to ask questions now because the results are telling us this centralized, right? This centralized Department of Education entity trying to govern 50 different educational platforms is not working. Tell me how 4,000 employees in DC can know what's best for students in Oklahoma, Oregon, California, Florida, Texas, Nebraska. How? You have 50 different educational platforms, right? What's best for a student in Texas may not be best for a student in California. The same thing for New York, the same thing for Florida, the same thing for Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota. How can one centralized entity govern all of that? Know the needs and wants. It don't make no sense. It has not worked at all. It hasn't worked. You tell me, guys, does it make sense for a centralized location, Department of Education, to have policies and procedures for all 50 states? You tell me based on the data, is this working? You tell me. Tell me. It's not hard. And at least I agree with you. Then review, revive, edit, turnkey. I agree with you. I agree with you, Lisa. On she's on TikTok. I agree with you 1,000%. I'm rocking with you, baby girl. Rocking with you. It's now time to audit this whole thing. Because what I'm hearing, guys, right now, based on what I'm reading, guys, is this is based. A lot of this money is flowing based on theory. Theory. Now, let me ask you this question. Sorry, Siri. Let me ask you this question, guys. Based on ChatGPT, right? You actually see approximately 90% of the funding for each state comes from the states in local, right? 10% comes, 11% comes from the Department of Education, right? It's obviously not working. It's not. It's not. And I would probably say that 10% is probably a lot lower than that because 114 billion out of 229 billion, right, went to Pell Grants for college students. So KD-12 does not get all that money. It's not. I'm not based on what I said. Congress says this. I didn't say that. Congress says this. So you tell me. Let me know in the comments section. Do you guys think that this education, the money is flowing based on a theory, or is it based on results? Because the missional component for the Department of Education is results. Do you guys think that there's been a proper audit of, is this system working? Is the structure working? Should we try something different? You tell me. Think about it. Let me ask you a question, guys. If you were, let's say, for instance, you invested, you have your own money, and you are investing in a investment. say you gave it $1 billion, right? First year, you guys actually made. At first year, you lost money. Well, that's first year. It's okay. Second year, you lost money. Third year, you lost money. Fourth year, you lost money. How much longer are you going to be losing money? When do you say, wait a minute, why I keep losing money? I keep giving you $1 billion a year and you keep losing my money. Like, how are we still in the red after 5 years? Guys, the Department of Education was founded in 1980, made official 1980, right? Made official by Congress. It's 2025. It's 2025. That's a long time. A long time. That's 45 years. 45 years. And we went from the world leader at its inception to ranked 13th, 14th in the world. And we have the biggest consumer base. How does that make sense? It does not. So to answer the question, guys, right? Because we went through the answer to the question. Is it time to shut down the Department of Education? I don't know. I agree with Lisa, though, on TikTok. I think it's time to audit. Really begin to look at the results of this thing. And for those that do not want to audit, guys, you should be nowhere near power. Because for 45 years, your way has been sucking. Not based on my numbers, based on the results of the studies. It's ridiculous. This needs an audit, like yesterday. And also, let me go to the states real fast. If the Department of Education is shut down, states, and then you begin fumbling the ball, because I believe, guys, there's fraud going on in the Department of Education and fraud going on at the state level. I know that for a fact. I think both the states as well as the federal the Department of Education needs an audit. See where the money going. Are you guys trying to meet a number goal? Or are you truly trying to educate the masses? What are you trying to do? I think it's time, guys, to look at something a little different. At least right now. Audit. Assess. How have we performed post the Department of Education? To me, that's a wise solution. Because right now, guys, I would say this here. Stewardship is the principle for excellent education. If you are afraid of an audit, whoever you are, I don't care if you are a conservative, independent, libertarian, or liberal. If you're afraid of an audit, you need to retire or get out of politics. You should be nowhere near power at all, because you don't want accountability. And if that's the case, I got to ask the question, what you hiding? What you hiding? I understand some mistakes have been made. Sure. It's life. You're going to make mistakes. But when you are afraid of stewardship, sorry, guys. It's time to assess and see what's going on. It really is. Guys, give me your thoughts. If you could comment below, guys. Do you think it's time for us to shut down the Department of Education? Or at least audit it? The answer for me is, I don't know. I think it's time for an audit, though. I truly think it is. So, yes, sir. But guys, man, I hope I added some value to you guys today, guys. Next week, guys, I'm going to go into the school choice option. We're going to look at 6 different states. We're going to look at the states' budgets for those 6. It's going to be 3 conservative states and 3 liberal states. We're going to look at the budgets to see where the money is going. And we're going to see, is school choice a proper option? In Texas, they are pushing for it hard. And we're going to talk about some fallacies behind school choice and also some wise objections, concerns about school choice. We'll talk about all of that, guys. So you let me know in the comment section. Are you for school choice or not? Are you for and out of the Department of Education? You want to get it closed down, guys. Man, guys, man. Hey, guys, I'm always asked real quickly, guys, is, hey, Liddell, hey, I'm a real estate development private equity finance, guys, and I own a lot of real estate by God's grace. And what's happening, guys, is I'm giving away a free ebook. I have a philosophy when it comes to education is I believe if I can I want to give as much information as I can for free. I can teach you how to find a distressed property, vet the deal, and structure the right way. If the deal makes sense, I partner with you and I fund the deal for you, right? In real estate, guys, you make money when you acquire, not when you sell, guys. All right, we're a free book, ebook, guys. Listen to this, guys, and let me know what you think. Here we go. Hi, my name is Liddell Bugg. Mastering the strategy of locating distressed properties has allowed for me to own about $35 million worth of real estate currently right now. We're talking about new construction, single-family residences, commercial properties, and apartment complex. You name it, I own it. Now, I know you're asking, what does this got to do with you? I'm glad you actually asked. One of the most common questions that I receive when it comes to real estate investing is that they say, Liddell, what is the best strategy I should use when it comes to executing a good investment strategy in real estate? Should I buy and hold? Should I buy and flip? Or should I do a rental scenario? My answer to that question is, why not do all 3? But the good thing about it is the investor that masters the art of locating distressed properties will know exactly how and what strategy is the most wisest in that situation. That's the key to this whole thing. If you wanted to know how successful real estate investors make money with their acquired real estate and not when they sell it, click on the link below or swipe up and download our free ebook, Distressed Property Investing. The blueprint is in the ebook. Stay blessed, holler at your partner, and download the ebook today. All right, guys. Again, we're giving away our free ebook, guys. Click on the link below, right, in the description section, or you can scan on this QR code, which is fine, guys, which is great. And it's a free book. It didn't cost you any money at all. I'm literally giving away how to locate a distressed property in your city, county, or state, guys. And you're going to be surprised at one of the easiest strategies that's actually detailed in this book. It's free. Don't want no money for you at all, guys. I'm going to teach you how to get the bag. If you cannot scan on the QR code or click the link below, don't worry about it. Direct message me the word real estate and my team will send you out the link. Do not put it in the chat. Literally direct message me the word real estate and my team will get it out to you, right? I guess also, guys, real quickly, I'm always just say, Liddell, I like real estate, Liddell, but I do not want to invest in real estate. Liddell, do you have anything else you can talk about? Sure. Guys, in the high inflationary economy, you best believe, guys, you need a side hustle. Now, what the side hustle is best for you, I do not know, but I know somebody can actually help you out. My good friend of mine named Matt Sapala did a whole video. It's for free, guys. It didn't cost you any money at all. It's literally on YouTube. And he talked about the top 3 strategies on how you can actually generate mailbox money, passive income, guys, while you either working a full-time job or you can just get inside hustle. All right, guys, here you go. That's the average. Here you go. Man, let's keep it 1,000. You are concerned about what's going on with this economy. I know I would be, man. You have the stock market not doing too well. You have inflation outpacing wages right now. And you have major companies looking at laying off a lot of people. Man, I had a friend of mine whose wife works for a major pharmaceutical company, and they're talking about laying off Scientists, man, scientists. It's getting real out there, guys. But hold on, wait a minute. It's not the end of the world for those that actually have a counter move. More than ever, it's time for everyday Americans to begin looking at a side hustle, a business for them to begin building now, and for them to be able to have the ability to pass the business on to second and third generation. Now, what business model is best for you? That's a great question, and the only person that can answer that question is you. The good news is a good friend of mine, Matt Sapala, actually did a good presentation on presenting the passive income blueprint. 3 effective ways to generate $1.5 million in passive income. The most powerful word in business is cash flow. And even a more powerful word is passive cash flow. I know, because I've been able to live the life of my dreams because of passive income. Most individuals focus on commission-based, generating commission. What if you can actually generate $1.5 million in passive income that can change not only your life, but generations to come, guys? Click on the link below or swipe up, guys, and I think you'll be blessed with what you see. God bless you. See you on this side. All right, guys. Again, guys, click on the link below, guys, if you want to look at the free video on the passive income blueprint. Very, very easy to do. Or you can scan this QR code on the screen. And lastly, if you can do none of one of those things, don't you worry, your partner got you. Direct message with the word passive income, and my team will get you the exact same link. Easy, free video, don't cost you a dime at all. I really love giving away information for free. That's just me. I just love to do it because of the fact that I learned. If someone could teach me how to do things without having to go through a lot of the mistakes, I would love that. That's what I'm doing here, guys. It's just saying, hey, here is the blueprint, guys. Go ahead and do what you got to do. Hey, go get the bag. Go get the bag. I don't want I don't want anything from you at all, guys. All right, guys. Well, guys, man, that's all I had for today, man. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you. And you know I look fresco clean in my ice cold drip, baby. You see the merch. Yeah, I look better. You take the picture for your mama and them and holler at your partner. But all right, guys, you can get a couple of merch as well. You can get a hat, guys. You can get a hoodie. You know, we call it the Bag University merch, baby. Get your merch. And good new thing here. If you buy the merch and you tag your partner in it, we'll put you in the drawing for you to win a $100 gift card. You can take your wife out, your boo out, go buy you some shoes, go shop at Amazon, whatever you want to do, it'll be your $100. Go do what you got to do. I do it live on the show. Click on the link below or scan the QR code. But guys, man, thank you so much for your time. God bless you. You know, I ended every single time. Oh, my bad, y'all. One last thing. I always get chastised if I do this, guys. Hey, every Friday at 5 p.m. CST, baby, Cliff and your partner does Real Estate Friday training. It's a free training on all platforms, baby. We talk about the current market analysis, what's going on in real estate in your city, county, or state, and nationwide, and what you can do to capitalize on it to make you a quick 5, 10, 20 grand per month, guys. We killing that thing, guys. This is me and Cliff, man. This is what we do every single Friday, man. Here you go. Here we go. What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refi to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
All right, guys. Again, every Friday at 5 p.m. CST, that's Central Standard Time. You can be on all platforms. Come kick with your partner in Cliff, man, on Real Estate Friday Live, guys, which means tomorrow, come kick with your partner. But, guys, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for your time. You know how I end it every single time before you leave, and while you can, baby. You see the thing. And before I end off, guys, please give me your comments below about the Department of Education. I'm all about reasoning here, guys. Reasoning. Is it now the time for us to shut down the Department of Education? Is it time for that? Comment below. Let me know. Should we shut it down or audit it? Let me know, guys. I'm open to being I'm open to wise counsel. I don't know everything at all. Just let me know what you guys think about it. But anyways, guys, you know how to end it before you leave and while you can. You see that thing, baby. Take that damn pitch and give it to your mom and holler at your partner. God bless you guys. See you next time. Peace.